Now I'm glad to introduce the next speaker, Dr. Vaishali Shah. She's a postgraduate in international business and diploma holder in internet technologies. So we are almost colleagues because you are in the communicator field. And she's the founder and owner of www.hinduscriptures.com and the Sri Vedant Foundation, catering to seekers of Hindu Vedic content worldwide. And the website has more than 45,000 pages, so this is huge, covering topics like Indian culture, history, heritage, rituals, temples, and festivals. So thank you, we are happy to hear you.
Is this okay? Yeah. No. We have to largen the screen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Namaste everyone. Namaste. The divinity within me is actually saluting to the divinity within you. That is the meaning of Namaste, and that is how we greet every individual soul on this earth. And it's not a religious greeting, it's a greeting of humanity, because we are trying to connect as an individual to another individual. Jai Shri Krishna, this is us greeting of the faith or the subsect Vaishnava Dharma, which I personally follow. As you know, we have many subsects within Hindu or Vedic Sanatan Dharma. This is the sect which I follow. So I bow down to my Guru and I bow down to my deity Krishna, and I start my presentation. Your Eminence Cardinal Ayuso Gio, Dr. Zavino, honored guests and sponsors of the conference, good afternoon. I'm truly privileged to participate in this dialogue and to be able to share my views on such an important creation of God called women. This august gathering of speakers from different parts of the world will witness a divine experience when we all learn how women have emerged from various challenges while facing different cultures and belief systems. Before I reach out to the main topic, he has already explained some few things about my website. I also have a book series called Hindu Culture and Lifestyle in 3 parts, which you can find on Amazon, which talks about the basics of Hindu culture as well as the little advanced theories of Hindu Dharma. Recently I write for a newspaper in India where I decode every shloka of Bhagavad Gita in a weekly column where we try to understand and relate Bhagavad Gita to our today's time and today's challenges, because Gita is actually a timeless piece of art or piece of knowledge which is applicable to each of us, and it's applicable to every situation anywhere in the world one faces. While researching various books kept in different libraries, some available easily, some had to be procured, I found that India has countless women contributing to society for the last many millennia. They lived in a very difficult and challenging situation in a society, but still made a remarkable impact on the coming generations. For example, Rishikas, who were the women rishis during Satyuga, Puranic women like Draupadi, Madri and Sati Ansuya, then historic women like Savitribai Phule or Mirabai. And most of the time it was their circumstances which were not in their favor, and they entered various kinds of encounters which eventually they overcame. I have yet to find any conflict of cultures in any ethnic groups we have within India. The beautiful Jati system, which is loosely translated or misinterpreted as caste system, is actually very helpful to women to find their strength and work towards their goals, especially when they have limited resources. The system of arranged marriage within the same community was actually very scientific and supportive for women's comfort. Today's time, when we have intercaste marriages or interreligious marriages, or even within a community when we have different, marriages of two different caste and religion or whatever, then it's always women who has to compromise, and it's the woman who has to upgrade herself to the family of the men's side. So that's the reason this system was there for many million years or many thousands of years, that it was we used to go for arranged marriage. Of course, now the time has changed. Even I haven't gone for arranged marriage, so I won't say that it's only the way, but yeah, this was one of the ways which was quite meaningful. Currently, most of my team members are women, and they are extensively working to bring the breast out of scriptures. The current scenario of India is also changing very rapidly, where they want to have more women in the parliament and and also in many other fields, because that is how the government is supporting. I remember someone saying this previously, that if the government takes initiative, it makes a huge difference, and the current government is doing that. Let's start with the main topic, women in scriptures. As per Rig Veda, As per Rig Veda, the pre-era of the universe was in a female form called Adi Shakti, which means even before the universe was created, the form, the power which was there, which was all in female form. It was not in a male form. She wanted to manifest the universe and has got teamed up with the Purush, a male factor, and created this universe. There is no god, rishis, or gurus in the entire knowledge legacy of India where the women factor doesn't exist. Right from the creation of the universe to the creation of humanity and all animal races, the productive element of womanhood was always there. They not only produced but nurtured with wealth, beauty, knowledge, strength, and wisdom. They are called Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kali, and various their forms. Every important element of life has a presiding Devi, that is women god, who is always there to fulfill our desire and nourish our minds and body. Every element of nature is worshipped in the female form. Now you can't, not many of you have seen that we have so many processions which takes women deity out in the public, for public viewing. And this is something which is commonly found in India. You will not believe that there are 62 Shakti Pithas which are there, which are dedicated to women. So there are so many temples which are fully dedicated to women, and in some temples men are not even allowed, but then that doesn't become a controversy. But in a temple which is where women are not allowed, it becomes a controversy in India. The wives of 7 rishis. Yes, let's talk about every element. The wives of 7 rishis who prospered further in human clans were always strongly supported their wives. They were an equal contributor to their task of gathering knowledge from the divine. Almost 24 rishikas have contributed to the important suktas which we practice even today. This is the biggest and the best example for those who think that women in India are suppressed. Because if we believe in Rig Veda, which is the most primary source of information, if women have contributed, that means it's not true. If women were so advanced that time, it is not true that women are suppressed in India in any forms. These women were either mothers, daughters, wives, or sisters of many of the main 7 rishis who were working on decoding scriptures from nature during their meditative state. Hence, they are called Drashta of the Vedas and not the authors. They were allowed to study the Vedic mantras, stotra, perform full yagna and weddings, go through the rituals of thread ceremony, study like any other male students in the Gurukul. I'm sure those who have done research, they know this system of education. The traditional system of education is called Gurukul in India. They were allowed to study even after marriage. Most of the women would pick up studies based on their husband's professions. The wife of the warriors was taught subjects like martial arts and weaponry science. The wife of various artists was taught music and art, other forms of art. Most of these women continue to work till the end of their lives and ensure that the knowledge they have gained is passed on to the next generations within the family. Taittiriya Brahman and Shatpat Brahman, they are two different scriptures. There are many scriptures, but I've just quoted two right now. Lay down that one who does not have a wife cannot perform yagnas. So in today's time, a lot of people have this question that what is this fire sacrifice? Why Indians or Hindus go for this fire sacrifice? But there is a huge economy involved around it, because in one yagna, one yagna is done, there are people who would be woodcutters, there are people who have produced grains, there are people who produce fruits, and there are multiple suppliers of that yagna who are getting employed by that. That's the reason I've done one paper on temple economy, because I feel the temple, one ritual of temple is a huge economic business model itself, when it supports more than 50 different type of arts and different types of professions. And this is something which one has to understand, that why there are so many temples in India, because it is actually the best way of restoring the wealth. And in fact, unfortunately, that was the reason so many temples were attacked in the past 800 years, to loot the wealth which was there inside the temples. But that is how they were preserved. So these two scriptures lay down that one who does not have a wife cannot perform yagnas. This is contrary to today's belief that a man cannot perform yagna on his own. I would like to quote one such Rishika who contributed immensely to the scripture despite facing many difficulties in her life. Aditi was a Rishika who was responsible to create various important aspects of the present universe. As who have studied, they know that there is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, the creation of the universe is clearly defined. Now, whether we want to accept or counter with the scientific theory of explosion and all is up to you, but its creation of the universe is clearly defined and clearly written, that this is how it came. Aditi was one of the Rishikas who was born in that initial stage when the universe was still taking shape. Her childhood was spent in the large kingdom. She was actively involved in studying various suktas, which was just identified by various rishis, but they were still looking for more knowledge related to the universe. She was married to Rishi Kashyap, the creator of various animals and species. Since she was born out of the fire, she could create sun, and the sun created Usha, which is the morning. Many people have this question that why there are so many gods. There are not so many gods actually, there are many devtas. Devtas means they are the god of one particular factor. For example, Indra is the devta of rain. And then there is Varun, devta of air. So all these devtas who are, say, they are ministers, and then there is president, so they are at the ministerial level of the universe, where, and of course they are very much alive, because if we are alive, they are alive. If we are breathing the air, if we are getting the rain, that means the devta of that particular factor is alive and is there to help us out. Since she was born out of fire, so she could create sun, and sun created Usha, which is the morning. In the next step, Aditi gave birth to various devtas like Indra, Mitra, Varun, Dhata, Aryama, Ansh, Bhag, and Vivashwan. She also gave birth to Rishi Martanda, who had died in the womb, but she ensured that he gets his life back. She had another sister called Diti, who was married to Rishi Kashyap. Through Diti, Daitya Kul came into existence. Her other sister also contributed to the creation of various animals. Kastha gave birth to horses, Anisha gave birth to Gandharva and Yaksha, Sarsa and Danu gave birth to Rakshas Kul. They all gave birth to different various other species as well. She contributed 72 suktas in the 10th mandal of Rigveda. She is also not Brahma Shakti. There are many such women who were instrumental in the knowledge bank of India. They fought as warriors like Lakshmi Bai. They stood against any operations of invaders like Rani Chennamma. They challenged rigid customs like Ahilya Bai Holkar, and someone really recently mentioned about Sati Pratha, which came into practice because the invaders, when they used to kill the kings, they used to take wives and the women of the warriors as sex slave to their country, and women who refused to go as sex slave to those kings, those invaders, they used to prefer to die with their husbands. And that was a major reason why this Sati Pratha came, and it was prevalent for 200-300 years when the attacks were on its peak. Another malpractice or another bad practice, which we call it as child marriage. Child marriage, yeah. Child marriage was also started happening because of all these practices, because those invaders used to come and take away, kidnap those young girls, and they had this fetish of young girls. So because they were getting kidnapped, they had to do something about it, and they used to marry them off because there was no other choice. So that's how the child marriage came into existence. Finally, I want to share that our scriptures have given innumerable examples and proofs of reincarnation of each soul after life after life, from being a small particle to the human species. The divine Atma which resides in our body is part of the Supreme God. As per Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, the body is perishable, hence we die, but not Atma. It changes its body till it is free from the cycle of desire and ego. It is our duty to get rid of the cycle of life and death through the right actions, tapa, self-control, the study of scriptures, and through devotion. Every human has some prescribed duty towards ancestors, society, family, mother, and himself, which he must fulfill before he dies. Good or bad karma would decide the quality of life one gets on this earth. Since we all are caused to the nature, the primary goal of all scriptures was to understand how nature works, then to preserve it, and finally to nurture it. Most of the rituals, yagna, and any kind of practices revolve around nature. It is our utmost duty to preserve every element of this universe by worshipping it. The best scripture, or rather should be called management book, Bhagavad Gita, also helps us to find strength and weaknesses. The conversation between Arjun and Krishna in 700 shlokas in 18 chapters helps us to go through every dilemma we face during one lifetime. Arjun has asked more than 100 questions, and Krishna patiently answers them to help us to live life peacefully. Let us all pray that we awake Arjun within us to seek the right knowledge. Hope we get the blessings of Krishna and pursue our respective journeys on the path of self-realization and reach our destination, whoever God we believe to. I'm very humbled, emotional, and very, very touched by the gesture of this august committee who have given me this opportunity, because though I've been part of many other interfaith forums, but this is my first time in Rome, and I'm very glad that you kept that faith in me, and I'm happy that we have got to meet so many beautiful souls, because we believe in the Atma, theory of soul, where we think that body could be anything, but then finally there is this consciousness which is within us, is something which relate to us. So thank you so much. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Dr. Vaishali Shah, for showing us the richness of diversity and the lesson of coming from India. And now the